Well, hey, welcome to The Path. We are at it again. And Stu actually came early for a mic check. And without anybody knowing, he showed up with our producer early and he didn't even need it. So, Stu, I'm super proud of you, buddy. Really nice job. How the heck are you, bud?
I'm doing great. I just want to publicly on The Path share that I've reached a level of maturity in my older age where I take responsibility for my technological challenges and I don't wait for other adults to solve them for me. I just go ahead and solve them for myself. And it took me a long time. It took me 50 plus years to get here, but I think we should take a minute and celebrate that if we could.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, buddy. Congratulations.
I expect a little more than that. Okay.
For the user, for the listeners, in our previous relationship with Stu was the president of a company, $1 billion. He had his own personal IT person that would come to his office and fix the multitude of problems that he had on any given day. Then transitioned to TruePath, and he still had the multitude of problems with IT, and he would call me. And I'd have no idea how to fix them because I'm not an IT professional. But I'm glad you're progressing. I'm glad you're figuring out for yourself, man. Nice job. Nice job, bud.
Hey, it's just a great way to start the show. Old dogs can learn new tricks. And, you've graduated too from yelling and berating me and beating me and my lack of knowledge to cheering me on. So this is the first
growth
show that
all
we
around
started with awesome passive aggressive compliments. This is the first path that we've been authentic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what our internal calls sound like. This
is growth, baby. This is growth. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing great.
Yeah, and Stu's happy to be here too.
We were joking around, but how are you, man? How was last week for you and stuff?
It was good, man. It was I was out of town working with a client, and it was really good to see a lot of faces and familiar faces I've been around for years, and then also just a kind of a renewed, not to go straight into our work, but like just a renewed focus on culture. And maybe renewed's the wrong word, but like just how important it is to just continue to talk about culture and spend time on it. So, but it was good, man. It was a little chillier for me, even though I was down in Nashville. It was a little colder than anticipated, but it's a cool town for sure. And boy, oh boy, everybody says they're the Vegas of the East Coast. And without a casino there, and Chris, you and I went down there for a team session too, and they haven't lost a step. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I haven't been back since that team session because it took years off my life, that team session. So I get you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, yeah, all good though on my end. I'm excited about our convo today. I'm really pumped about it, and I'm excited to spend time obviously with you guys.
Love it, man. Stu, how you good on a serious note, Stu? Since we've
on a serious note, I'm doing great, man. Yeah, last week was great. You and I had an opportunity to be together with a great client and spend a couple of days really working with a team of people that really wanted to come together. Like, before we got there, they were, I think trying to do a lot of the right things. And so to spend 2 days with them and watch that team come together, they did the work. It's always a powerful moment to be able to walk into a room like that and then leave. You walk in as individuals and people leave as a community and as a team with some shared commitment, just a newfound kind of commitment to one another. That's a gift of this business, the gift of this job. So last week was super fulfilling. Personal life, kids are doing great. Wife's doing great. Life is, usually I come in here and I've got something silly to say, but all jokes aside, life is actually going exactly how I hoped it would. And for those that have been listening, I've been working hard on that path. And so when things are going good, I don't tend to say it, right? I'm pretty quick to talk about when things are screwed up. But hey, man, I'm in flow state. Life is moving in the same direction as I want it to go. So I'm glad to be here. Excited to be a part of the podcast today.
Yeah, I love that. I love watching that for you too, bud. You and Tobe.
Thanks.
Like when I love being there for you when you need a helping hand. But I love riding that wave with you when it's at the top too. And hopefully we get more of those experiences. I know we got to share a couple drinks and dinner last week, which was really cool. So Yeah, man, I'm with you. Last week was awesome. We got to work with an organization that, to your point, never went through something like that before, right? That type of synergy type of meeting, to really focus on team, right? It's a lot of individual contributors and a lot of really smart people, but to really go into that meeting and focus on team, it's just one of the best things we get to do, to see a group of individuals actually move personally and professionally in a day and a half. Right. And I don't want to say with little effort, because we worked our butts off, but
a lot of effort.
Man, in a day and a half, to see them move that much in a day and a half, it just reaffirms kind of what we're doing and the work we're doing, which is really cool. So, I had Park in last week for spring break. Aiden, I think I told you guys, Aiden was over in Ireland. And we didn't hear from him too much, which was scary. And then one night, Parker was here, and one of Aiden's friends that he was with in Ireland texted him or snapped him or whatever, asking if they could find Aiden's location, asking if Parker in Pittsburgh could find Aiden's location in Ireland. Which that's not a great thing to have. That's not so we get that story in the morning. He was found very shortly after. I guess he got an Uber home or whatever. That was at least the story we were told. But today's age, man, everybody's trackable. Everybody, which creates a little bit of stress for Mama Bird. But he was found. He had a great trip in Ireland. It was awesome week having Parker home. Got to get some one-on-one time with him. I put him to work. We did some painting and did some chores around the house and just dinners. And we had a really nice time. Got to share the last night with him and his girlfriend, and just Joy and I. And his girlfriend's getting a little bit more understanding of us. Maybe is that the right thing? Like she's getting a little bit more warmer around us, which is pretty cool. So it's just cool to just be a part of their lives. And I was really proud of myself, because we talk about it a lot on this podcast. Like we're doing the work too on us, when it comes to like, really, who do I want to be last week for my son? I actually felt like I showed up really well in that space, and we got to connect. That's great. I didn't throw too much of myself at him, because he doesn't want too much of, Dad, but enough. And we were able to connect and have a really enjoyable spring break. So it was a great week. Bucket is full. Man. Bucket is full. So yeah.
What more could you ask for?
Amen, man. And now we're back to, just the three of us, me, Tan, and Joy. And Tan just came in skipping through the door. He got an A on his A push, which is AP history, U.S. history, which is really hard. And he got a great grade on that and a great grade on the six. So he's skipping through, living life. So it's back to the three of us. And I love that as well. So
hey, let's take a poll real quick before we get into the show. How many of us on this call passed AP, or better question, how many of us on this call even took an AP class? If you were to, if the audience were to guess who on here has never even come remotely close to an AP class, take a guess. It'd be the guy in the green shirt. Yeah. Oh, Toby. I got
the bald guys. The bald guys.
Yeah, the bald guys.
Yeah.
Woo. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got like all of them. They got Joy's brains for sure.
My girls were the same way, dude. Like that, they would come home and I would go, obviously, some genes you didn't get of Dad's, and one of them is you actually go to class and retain information while I'm out carving my initials in the freaking, the tree out front of the school, smoking cigarettes.
Totally, it's so funny. Hey, that's our job, right? Better versions of us, right?
Hey, dude, look, I don't have hair to grow out. All right,
yeah, there you go. Well, hey. Let's transition into our guest. I'm super excited. This is cool, just having more people on and inviting more people into our world a little bit. We've had the fortune to work with this person in our previous life, and then he took on a big role as president of TempWorks, Mr. Brett Cavanagh. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you for having me.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
What I was going to go into, man, is just it's so cool to reconnect with people that meant something to us in our past life. And we got to do a lot of really good work together, and in different roles and different identities, right? In different situations we were all in with families, whatever. And then to reconnect, for us at least, under this mission of True Path and what we're trying to do, and to reconnect with people, leaders of organizations, especially, that see what we do as really important. It's just the best, man, because that makes our job a lot easier. It makes the buy-in to the organization, just the leadership systems that we integrate within organizations so much easier. And you've been an absolute unbelievable partner for us, bud. And I'm just, it's not only great that we get to do this with you because this is what we do, but also just to do it with a friend and someone that we spent, a previous life with, and we get to kind of revisit that with you. Again, man, sometimes we got to pinch ourselves that we get to do this, but it's been really cool that you've entrusted us enough with the people that mean a lot. Your organization and your leadership is awesome. It's been great to work with, but it's also going to be just great to have a conversation with you today. So welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thank you. Well, that means a lot. You guys, I've looked up to you guys for a long time. It's been, like you said, fun rekindling, but I had one of our leaders ask, like, so how long have you known these guys for? And kind of had to do the math and pull off the shoes and the socks and going through it, but Chris, back in Chicago, early days, I think even technically before part of that program kicked off, and Tobes, I made my transition and moved countries, and Stu, we had some divisional stuff together. I mean, it's just always a blast. And I think, for me leading an organization and getting to bring in people who've molded me and helped mold me, and give these folks an opportunity to do the same. It's kind of surreal, to be honest.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's a little weird walking down the office and seeing you two knuckleheads down there working with the team. It's really fun. I mean, it feels like 20 years ago. It's awesome.
That's great. That it's to Chris's point, to just get on here and before we got on the podcast and really started, recording, we were sitting here having a catch up on just how long it's been since we've interacted, and yet we jump on here and it's like no time's passed. And that's the beauty of relationships, right? And ones that aren't transactional, right? That are built around true, authentic connection, even if it's just on a project or on a, we worked together for 6-12 months, but that time mattered. And Brett, that's something that I think, I don't want to speak for Chris and Toby, but I think when we think of you, that's the one connector. Is I remember vividly those moments with you, and I remember laughing, and I remember some of the intense moments too, right? With some of the folks we were working with. But it's just the power of real moments and those opportunities to connect at a deeper level that resonate for years. And here we are on a podcast, which is hilarious. I think we all had a lot more hair. I definitely didn't have a white beard. I can assure you of that back in those days. But I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited to hear and get kind of caught up on what's been going on with Brett. What's that path like? And I know I'm sure we'll jump into that in a second. But it's awesome to have you here, man.
Feel the same way. And staying from increases in their company means the race to us.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, one of the questions that we pose to people that come on, we just want to get, hey, where are you on your path, right? And I think it's important to have a little bit of a history, a little bit like, hey, where you been? But mostly like, hey, where are you now? And what's going on? And Tobe has a great way of saying that. Like, to know you is to know what. So where are you? Where you been? A little backstory, and then kind of where are you on your path? And we'll get into it from there.
Yeah, my life has been all about chasing a girl in a lot of ways, playfully but seriously. We, going back a bit, where things started with Chris, recruiting and selling in Chicagoland, and then Toby intersects as I'm getting promoted and moving to Canada and running a country, and then that's where Stu steps in and works through. But for me in my whole life, it's always been about pushing myself and driving to more. My backstory growing up in Chicagoland, I'm one of 7 kids, and we all fought for mom and dad's time without knowing it. I think the career group helped me establish that pretty quickly. I don't think they needed AP courses to figure that one out. I think that one was pretty obvious. And it was just always about what was next and where we were at. I think part of my personal identity challenges and what I got into leadership was, you've made it. You don't need to chase anymore. Be yourself. I met Jackie, my wife, on a trip where we were actually celebrating some accomplishments, and had a laugh because I heard her accent, and she said she's from Minnesota, and I live in Minnesota now. So, she's leveled me out a ton and helped me, really understand what we're here for and what we're doing. So it's always been about kind of a chase, I guess. When I switched careers and I moved over to TempWorks and Lono Payroll, there was kind of this don't give a rip anymore. I wanted to go back into just producing and selling. I didn't want to be a part of leadership. I just wanted to do my own thing. We were expecting our second child, and my past job had me traveling 40 of 52 weeks. And the wife yet again put her foot down and said, no, we're not doing that anymore. And God love her for it, because it led me to here. And I really did just want to produce and kind of fly below the radar, but all the wonderful things that we've learned and have been exposed to through growing up in adolescence and sports and, aerotech and leadership and all that stuff, it just came pouring out. I couldn't help it. Seeing interview guides or metrics or onboarding or trainings or all these different things. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And I like to laugh about it and say I couldn't keep my big fat mouth shut, but I had something to offer. And they gave me the room and the space to do that. And before I knew it, I was president of the company, and bringing in friends like you guys, and bringing in friends from the past and other walks of life, and developing a pretty cool team and a neat culture that took off. And, we started growing a ton, and now we need to put some structure and stability behind it. But honestly, all that considered, I think the thing that I'm happiest about and where I'm at the most in my path is just being a dad. I've got 3 awesome kids. Tucker is 8 and he's a sport nut. Mackenzie's 6 and she's a little dancing queen, takes after her mom. And then you got the little guy bring up the rear, Patty, at 3, and he's a bruiser. And they're hilarious, and they're all different. But I could promise you that the conversations that Jackie and I have are about what I'm bringing as a dad and what she's bringing as a mom is becoming more and more intentional.
Yeah.
I think that's been the most fun part. And I work at a great place that gives me the space to do that. And I really couldn't be happier, even amidst all the challenges and all the fights. It's been a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great, buddy. I was curious about, and you kind of probably knew this was coming, but I was curious about just, on your own path and knowing yourself better, like what have you learned about yourself, this season of life that you're in right now, of, the version of you, I think, and I mean this in a compliment, like when I saw you again, kind of this later stage, if you will, you're still the same guy. And I mean that from a real compliment, you know what I mean? Like, cause I think people can definitely lose the center, if you will, and I do and always have felt that you've always been a family guy, being one of 7. I mean, it was obvious, like close to your siblings and whatnot, but with Jackie and the kids now and being a dad. And so you got this president thing and you got this role of a father and a husband and all that. But I'm just curious, because that's really, obviously what we really try to do is we get people to not only kind of lean into their own growth, but like acknowledge their growth, like acknowledge kind of who they are today. So I'm going to land the bird with the question, I promise, but just kind of that, the personal, what do you know now about yourself? The man, Brett. And then from a professional side, like, what do you now know that maybe you didn't before?
Yeah, I've always been hard on myself, and I think that's part of that next stage. I think honestly, the biggest difference is how comfortable I am with who I am and what happens. I apologize a lot less more. Was that English? We're gonna go. I apologize a lot less.
That's frequent. There we go.
Thanks to it.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Good assist.
Yep.
I'm much more comfortable in my skin. I'm what you see is what you're gonna get, and I really do take that compliment seriously, Toby. I've tried to show up as my authentic self. back in the day when we took those disc assessments, I never understood why you had a home one and a work one. Mine were always the same. And you lose confidence, right? You're in a chair, you're in a tight spot, or you have a kid who got in trouble at school and you don't quite know what to do. So you try and say things that you think you're supposed to say, or you try and behave ways that you think you're supposed to behave. And I could say that I'm leaving that to the wind a lot more often than I used to. And I'm certainly aware of it, Toby. I'm much more intentional about it. When we're hanging out with our teams or we're doing incentive things, you used to try and beg them to say, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What motivates you? And I got advice from some brilliant guy who told me, show them what you do. And where do you like to go? And what do you like to do? And bringing them into my world has been so fun. And I think it's really helping transform our company, our home, and what it is that we're trying to do. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. As we get older, life keeps getting harder. I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and we lost Jackie's dad a year ago. And you surround yourself with people who have heartache and pain, and you try and just be there for them in your normal way. Those who are closest to you know when you're full of it. And if I show up and I try and be this person I'm not, they're like, get the hell out of here. We don't want that guy. We want the other guy. And that's meant a lot. And I'm trying really hard to be that person every day.
Can I one quick one, Chris and Stu, because I'm on a roll with a good friend right now. But like when I hear like I'm comfortable in my skin, you think back of our 25-year-old versions of hearing some old person say that. You're not old, but you know what I mean? Like how do you balance? Because I remember when I heard someone say, yeah, you got to get comfortable in your skin. I'm thinking they got the bank account, they have no worries, they're probably not as competitive as I am. Like, and I know you're still competitive and you're still ambitious and all that. How do you balance like that? Like how I'm comfortable and I'm still this, I'm still that, I'm still, because I think sometimes people believe that, comfortable in my skin means maybe I'm taking plays off or I'm not as competitive. And I know that's not you, but how do you balance it?
I don't know if this is the right answer, but I mean, it's about who I'm surrounding myself with. If you can't accept me for who I am, then politely let's move on. If you're not going to be able to match my energy or drive at work, maybe there's a place for you here, but maybe it's not in my closest circle. If you can't match that energy or drive on the playground, at home, or on a sports field while we coach our kids, maybe I'm not the person for you. And I've grown to be okay with that. Jackie teases me all the time. She's like, dude, you do not like being alone. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I never really have been. But I've been a lot more intentional with who I keep around and who I don't. And I think that's a big part of it for me, Topes.
That's great, buddy. That's awesome.
Hey, I got to see Brett work with his team. We had a manager, team builder, and Jackie and the kids came by, but that authenticity that you bring is like your superpower. You know what I mean? Like just
always has.
Jackie, by the way, you were right. You outpunted your coverage on that one. She seems like
yeah.
And the kids, like I got to ride back a truck of Brett's new truck, which by the way is pretty sweet. And like I'm with his two kids with the car seat. We're going to this golf simulator, and man, your kids are just like the most playful, just kids, man. Like, and you can just tell your guys' love for them and appreciation and meeting them where they are and letting them be kids is showing, bud. And I just like giving me that vision that just connected so many dots about you and Jackie and your parenting. So stay true to that course, bud. Like, and then again, that's what the path's all about. There are some obstacles that present themselves. You've been through a lot the last couple of years, man. And you still hang your head high, like, but that's not without like some detours, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for you, right?
I mean, most certainly not. There's a couple like sayings or isms or ideologies. My dad's got one that he spoke at our wedding, and he just continuity, right? They were pretty upset when I decided to throw my name in the hat for Canada. In fact, the way I shared that news with them could have gone better, but after cooler heads prevailed, his biggest thing was, no matter where you are, your job is continuity. And as I've gotten older and have had kids and we've experienced loss and different things, really what he means is just keep paying it forward. He had a great upbringing with his parents. My mom had a great upbringing. They had all the wonderful opportunities. They had challenges. Things were hard. Same thing for us growing up, but our values, our traditions, our ideals is what's the most important. When you get into those tough spots, just kind of remember who you are and who you're surrounded with. And that rings true a lot. The other things are, I heard you mention it on a previous podcast. We certainly talk about all the time, but in the absence of information, people assume the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about that, I remember telling Dr. Joe about this, is, growing up with 6 brothers and sisters, my dad being one of 8, my mom being one of 4, and everyone being in Chicago, all 60 of my first cousins, there were no secrets.
No.
Good luck, man. Like, I got caught underage drinking one time, and it was like, before
Everybody
I even got home, my mom knew. Like, it's like, you're screwed before the day even ends. So, I just learned to be brutally honest, and it was just, here I am, take it or leave it. I'm sad today. I'm upset today. This is what's going on. And again, for a while, you try and mask those, try and hide them, but you're people who know, and you can't. And my kids are wildly perceptive.
They always are.
And they know it quicker than anybody. And the last thing in the world I want them to do is hide away from me because they know I'm in a bad mood. So it's those couple of things that always stand out to me, and I try really hard to bring forward. And then, bring my potty talk along with it. I'm still always going to be a little boy, and they all respond well to that. So we bond over it, and it's just fun. We're at a fun stage.
That's great.
We are. Yeah.
One of the things you said, Brett, at the beginning, I'd love to dig in a little deeper if you're up for it. Because I think that you're actually a living example of a lot of what we talk about on this show, just around kind of making that decisive decision around picking a path and creating some change. And more importantly, it's, we talked about being miserably comfortable in one of our very first episodes. And we talked about, why do men, and not just men, but people in general, wait until that lightning crash or that car crash before real life changes start, right? Where we really start being intentional about our growth internally. And you said something that hit me early in the beginning, and because I can relate to it, and we've talked about it a lot on the podcast, and that is, I just wanted to fly below the radar, right? That time where you were making some of the decisions, and what I heard there was, there was a confidence was in a different place. Maybe the energy level, the passion, clarity around purpose. Talk to us a little bit about what you meant when you said, hey man, I just wanted to fly below the radar. Because I think a lot of people that listen find themselves in that spot and don't always know how to get out of it,
Really good question. So past life, past work, it undoubtedly shaped me, and I'm grateful for it every single day. There's so many things from, lead with fear and tough conversations, and, in the absence of information, people assume the worst. Situation leadership. There's just so many things that we learned that were so helpful, that I lean on all the time. But to be really honest, after feeling like we achieved pretty wild success in Canada and doing well, and then my wife wanted to move to Minnesota, and nothing was available for us here, and moved into national sales, which required a lot of travel. Like, I was just beat up. I was tired. We were about to have our second kid. we moved here, and not that I have a hard time getting to know people, but people are cliquey and it's tough. And I was just down, and I didn't know if I had the energy to give everything that I knew I needed to do. Plus, I was told by a number of different companies I wanted to get into software that I don't have any software experience. So, you're lucky we're giving you a shot. So I just wanted to get along and fit in, to be honest. I wasn't sure if I had the energy to be a leader again, because we all know what comes with that. If you do it the way that I was doing it, which wasn't always the right way, and I was just exhausted, so I didn't want to go into that fight. And I got to know the people here, and I think they're incredible. And I thought the product and the services that we have here are really extra. They're pretty special. And said to myself one day, like, you're here, may as well make it work. And we went all the way in. And I had an unbelievable partner in Taylor, and she's still here, and she did nothing but encourage me to do that. Along with a number of other people, my good friend Kevin, who pulled me in the company, who's still here, and our CRO. So you're surrounded by good people who, I think, Stu, I don't know for sure, I should probably go ask them, but I think saw me not being the best version of myself and said, "Wake up, dummy." And I woke up.
It's the power of community, right? Another thing we share a lot is just those pivotal conversations that matter, especially when we're in that state, when we're surviving and not prospering, where we're reacting versus being proactive, right? Where I talk all the time, and we talk in sessions a lot about hunting versus being hunted, and that idea that I'm talking to a man that I know the difference between Brett today and probably Brett about that time that under the radar mindset was probably setting in. And you look at the confidence and just see the man that you are today. And I just think it's a great example of, we've got to be willing to choose us. Like, we've got to be willing to look in the mirror and say, these things happened, these situations drain me or whatever. And a lot of it is what we allowed to have happen, right? During those early careers, and it's the environment that we allowed to kind of wash on us. But the choice to choose different is just such a great story that we should tell as frequently as we can, that there is another option. And Brett, what you chose was, hey, look, I know who I am, and I'm going to do the work to make sure that I love that guy, right? And that love for that guy is what's going to fuel the confidence and the passion to be all these other things that the world needs me to be. And I can go be, but I've got to find that passion and that energy back. And it's just such a good story of someone that goes through a pretty normal challenge. A lot of people go through these things in life. I went through it. I've talked openly on here about it. Chris has. But when you choose you and you choose something different, you can find that fulfillment. You just got to do the work. And so thanks for sharing that. It's important for people to hear this.
It's funny because it's a lot of people feels easier to do the under the radar stuff, but it's actually a hell of a lot easier just to do you, not rudely, not absurdly, but do you. And it's been fun, and you lose your way, and it gets hard, and you stumble and you trip, but you got buddies there to pick you up and colleagues who believe in you, and it's fun.
Really powerful. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, I just find that so many people like we meet with, and we get to work with a lot of the best. And I've been fortunate enough to do that for a long, long time now. And we tend to sabotage our happiness. We tend to sabotage our authenticity. And we always why would anyone ever do that? And it's like, man, like
you don't know you're doing it, right?
Well, I know, and I see it time and time again where it's like, you just don't give yourself the options to be happy, fulfilled, and meaningful and all of that. And then you're quick to don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't be too proud of yourself. Don't be too happy. And it's such an interesting thing we do as creatures, man. And I've seen it with men and women. So I won't just say it's a men thing, but like certainly a lot of the guys I've been around for the years that I have, it's like you won't give yourself that. And then you'll beat yourself up all day, twice on Sunday for the critique and the not good enough and all of this. It's like we're supposed to live in the middle of this, and none of it feels really great. And it's we are a bunch of crazy people sometimes. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, hey, Brett, we are.
What are you doing in the president role now, man? Like your path there, and how you staying grounded? You know, how you staying authentic? How you staying true to yourself? And what are you getting to do in that role?
Hired you guys so you could do it for me.
Thank you. Shameless plug. We'll pay you later for that.
Yeah. People, right? I mean, the biggest thing that we learned, and I have learned in every phase of life, is all problems are people problems. You know, and I'm sure there's a positive spin to that. I tend to look at things from the other side. Don't correct me, Toby, please. And you know, it motivates me, and it keeps me focused. I think if you get people right and you do right by them, everything else kind of falls into place. You know, so Chris had brought it up, but you know, he encouraged me to pull our leaders together and have a conversation. You know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was having a hard time breathing. You know, I'm like, this is a lot. This is heavy, but we have a plan. We have a path. We have a direction, and I'm just trying to carry it all and run through the trenches and get going. And one guy would jump on, another girl would jump on, and away we go. But it just never really felt like enough, you know, and you use the rowboat analogies, and some people were rolling this way, some people were rolling that way. But I really did mean what I had told Chris and Toby, was that I feel like everyone's in the boat now. Like now some people are just rolling a little bit faster than others, and we're not really in sync. Certainly some people are working a little harder than others some days, and the next day it's a different person. And the biggest thing is getting the people right. And for me, as a people-centric person who doesn't like being alone, per my wife, I love being around people. It's fun. So I've shifted from working really hard on the X's and O's, because I think we've gotten those well dialed in enough, letting our leaders establish what those SOPs are. And I've been working on the people, you know, more lunches, more happy hours, inviting them to the golf course, even if they don't golf, going to their kids' sporting events and doing different things, all the stuff that I loved Marty Shager for, you know, back in the day. And I'm like, we're just going to do that. Like, that's what I'm good at. That's what I like to do. And it's going to make people happier, and it's going to help us deliver what we want to deliver. And it's working. And every now and again, you need to tweak and push a little harder and see who rises to that water level, and away you go. So really, Chris, I'm trying really hard to work on our people. You know, I'm trying to share with them situational leadership. I'm trying to get them exposed, joking aside, to you and Toby, and the wonderful things that you two have taught me over the years, so that they could be the best versions of themselves, and away we go. So I'm living at the people level, and I'm having fun doing it.
It's so well said, Brett. I got a follow-up question for you. So I think, you know, when we hear the people, I'm a people focused, sometimes people jump to it's all butterflies and rainbows, and this is all like luncheons, and like we're handing out, you know, hats to whoever can tell the trivia of the company, right? Like when I hear you talk to people, because I know who you are and I know your DNA, that also that's a combination of both, right? That's a combination of putting in deposits into the people and into the culture, but also the withdrawals, right? About really making sure standards are lived in, and that safety. Can you talk just a little bit about, when you say people, really help give the audience a little bit of a view of what you mean by that?
I think if you ask my group, you'd hear more of the intensity side than you hear
Sure.
the fun loving side. Certainly mixed with both, but I didn't get anywhere in my life by taking a playoff. You know, you guys call it in your sessions, you know, putting the work in and doing the work. And if I have to be the one to sit across somebody and tell them that I don't think they're doing the work, I'll do that. And I do it lovingly, and I give them examples, and I share with them how I think they could do better, and that it's up to them. And I think the most important thing then is I follow through and I check up later to see how it's going. And they'll admit that maybe the first day or so they were frustrated, but it comes around. They know I'm giving them my time, and connecting dots. Part of the imposter syndrome is like, I'm the president. I'm supposed to say something profound. I'm supposed to do something well for you. I'm supposed to be this person. It's like, no, I am the president. I'm giving you some of my time today. And as arrogant as that may sound, there's 214 other people that I could be giving my time to. I'm giving it to you right now because I care that much about you.
Yep.
And I think for me personally, that comes across. If I pat myself on the back. That's what I mean by being a people person and showing up. Is I'm not telling them what they want to hear. In fact, it's very rarely the case. We talk about home, we talk about work, we talk about hobbies, we talk about everything to say, are you happy? What are you doing? Here's how I find happiness. Here's what I do. What are you doing about that? Because if you can't find that, you're not gonna just show up with it here tomorrow. Right. It's not gonna just pop up because you got the title you've been hoping to get. And yeah, that I'd say that's the biggest thing. But then I also just bring them into my world too. There's so many people I've looked up to in my life. I've talked about my dad. I threw out Marty Shager's name. You three, along with several other people, in our past lives, and they were typically just themselves. And what I adored the most about them is they talked about their family, they talked about life, they talked about what they're doing for. Like I think we identify as work because that's easy, but I intentionally tried to answer the question to start today of like, I identify with my family. I identify as a dad. I identify as a husband, because this is a job. Like I hope to retire someday and focus more on that. This is a job, but it pays the bills and allows us to have the fun. So we got to be good at both.
I'm sure I can get some validation here from your two partners, both Chris and Toby, but my gut tells me that honesty, that authentic approach that you've been sharing and have for as long as I've known you, I'm sure that hard push and that accountability is felt as care in your organization, and that people find that as a sign of respect. And actually, there's a lot of safety in knowing where you stand. And what I've always respected about you, Brett, is I've never wondered where I stood with you. And so, and that we've had some good stories about that. But I think it's important that we constantly push the courageousness of being honest with the people that we lead and the people that we're partnered with. And that's a real, being outside of our old ecosystem, you realize just how rare that is of people having the courage to really speak about how they feel about someone, but also what they need, what people need to feel connected and feel fulfilled. And you've always embodied such a great example of that connection. So thanks for walking through that for us.
Thanks, Steve. Wait, I like this thing. Like I don't understand why work and home need to be different.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I really sat down and studied it, I could figure it out, but that seems like too much work to me. And I've always been confused by that. You go back to Darwinism and fight or flight. Like as humans, like we're survivors. So I'm gonna give you the answer to the test for me personally, and we're gonna remove all of the guesswork because I'm too stupid to try and figure it out otherwise. And it's just like we're gonna make it really easy. That's fun.
Great. That's great.
Love it. Hey, as we start to wind this thing down, where's this path taking you, buddy? Where you heading?
Oh, we have some serious work to do here still. I think there's a lot of really awesome people who I get to work with who are striving for more. We have a cool crossroad that we're at, that we're trying to invest into and drive the company forward towards. And it's scary, but it's really, really fun. And those who have thrown themselves all the way into the boat, are kind of waiting for that day to come so that they could, move up and make more money and have a clear vision on exactly what it is that they're doing and what their path is at the company, so that they could be proudful when they go home to their families. So I feel a lot of pressure to deliver that. Good pressure, healthy pressure. It's competitive. It's like trying to make any team. But we've got that going on here. So we're constantly evaluating our org structure and our people and how they play into that and what the market and the customers need, as we battle new technology, and pull it into our framework. So there's the work side, and then the home side. We've got, a journey going on. We've had some terrible sadness that we're trying to work through. And my wife is putting in the work, and I'm damn proud of her for doing it. So is the rest of her family. So, sitting on the sideline, sort of, you guys know me well enough to know I don't, but sitting on the sideline and watching them go through that journey is really hard to do, given I was just in it a year before. But seeing them go through it is also really inspiring at the same time. So they're doing that. And then we got the three little knuckleheads who are figuring out life and are full of zest and fun. And, my dad was teasing me the other day because I was telling him how many baseball practices we already have in Minnesota in the winter. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Tucker keeps saying he wants to do it. And if he shows up and he works his tail off, like, I'm not going to say no."
No way.
And he wants to do it. So let's go, and if he doesn't work hard, guess who's going to tell him on the car ride home? So we'll get that managed perfectly well. And he's having a blast doing it. So I want to keep letting him. So it's really, really fun. I mean, he scored this basket the other day, and I mean, I thought he was going to explode through the roof of the building. He was so pumped up, and like, it fills you up all the way. And I just want more of that. More of that.
Hey, there's nothing better than the world through an 8-year-old's eyes. There is nothing better. If we ever get cynical about the way this crazy world is working, just slow down for a minute and chat with an 8-year-old about what's got them stressed out, right? Like it keeps things in perspective.
Totally. And I am certain that it is only going to get harder from here as they learn about all the other stuff in life. So
always.
So the 8-year-old boy mind specifically,
enjoy it.
Relate really to, I mean, it's the best.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's absolute best.
Some things never change from an 18-year-old boy. Even when you're 50, you still have the same jokes. And it's like 8-year-old. That's the best part of it too. Yeah. Hey, any closing thoughts, Tobe and Stu?
No, I just think it once again, we knew who we were getting when we got Brett to agree to come on this. And classic, anybody that's listening to this, I think you now get to experience what an authentic leader looks and sounds like, what a guy that's grounded, and grounded in family. And to be honest, I mean, I don't think we can say that enough, to just really make sure that we know what's most important in this world we live. And we got to get that right. So especially men of boys, and Stu, men of girls, it's just so important right now that we're modeling and failing forward with all of them. So, but anyway, Brett, you were exactly as always. I mean, you just wash, rinse, repeat in a real positive way. You just are the authentic, real deal. And I just appreciate you coming on board with us today on this call. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. I appreciate it. I wish we'll definitely get a call set up. It was nice to see the face and to kind of reminisce. The thing that always hits me after interacting with you is just just how well you can kind of name the emotion, how well you can kind of define, the specifics of what you're navigating, and more importantly, how relatable that is to the people that are lucky enough to have you lead them. And one of the things that's always connected, and it showed up on today's call, is just the relatability and how important that is in leadership. The higher you go up, even the more important relatability and connectivity is. And what's beautiful is your prioritization of people is you're still prioritizing connectivity and relationships, even as a president of a large company. And I'm just here to say I knew you when you weren't the big title, and you were still that guy. You prioritize connection and authentic relationships. And for those that are listening that are new in their leadership journey, this is it. This is where you go from being a manager of outcomes to leading people to achieve unbelievable outcomes. And it comes down to that connection with people and relationships. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate you being on today. It means a lot.
Yeah, Brett, I'll give you my 2 cents and I'll let you close up, buddy. But I just thank you, man. Thanks for believing in us. Thanks for bringing us. We don't take that responsibility lightly, man. Like, for you to say, hey, man, I want my team to have a piece of what I had, from a leadership standpoint, from a holistic standpoint, and to believe in us to be able to do that with your team. It's been an absolute blessing, man. Like, working with your team has been so much fun. I talked to 2 of them today, and just how they show up as a representative of you, man. Like, they want to learn. They want to be a part of this. Like, they're super attentive on the calls, and they're learning, and they're willing to fail. And it's just been awesome to watch, bud. And a lot of it is because of you. So just know, like, you're having an impact on these folks, whether you're in the room with them or not. And so I just thank you for bringing us in and entrusting us, man. And thanks for the friendship, buddy. Like, I was telling Tobe, we were out there in December in Minnesota. Don't go to Minnesota in December. Like, just,
our winters last from Halloween to St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, apparently. They just got 12 inches last night. He sent me pictures. We were getting ready for this, and his kids were having a snow day. It's crazy. But like, Tobe and I were there in December, and I remember sitting down with you, and we were walking to our coffee. Tobe and I were walking to our Caribou, our red zone walk to Caribou. And I'm like, I go to him, I go, I love how grounded he is, man. Like, I just love how he's just who he is. And he's unapologetic. That's something I've been working on my whole life, man. Like, trying to be everything for everybody. And I'm telling you that story, man, because, like, I'm learning from you. We can all learn from each other. And you've been a great partner and a role model, bud. And keep it up. You're doing an unbelievable job, buddy.
He made me lose it.
He loves this.
I don't. This is the stuff that I have a very hard time with. It means a lot from you 3, especially. And I asked you to come in for a reason. I mean, using my dad's words of continuity, I'm like, okay, it works. Just keep going, man. Like, it worked for Stu, it worked for Tobe, it worked for Chris. Like, you're not special. Keep going. And I mean that in, like, the most basic level. Like, I know that I've earned where I've gotten to, but I've just been surrounded by some of the best people, and every single one of those lessons sinks in, and I get to call it out when those things come up, and it's fun. It's a weird world having you guys back in it. But I told both of you, seeing our company name on the wall the way it is here, it just had an immense pride for me one day. And I could tell you, it was the same feeling when both of you finally walked through those doors. It just felt right. And I'm grateful for that. So awesome. Thank you for the compliments. I'm feeling really good about where we're at and what we're doing. And there's a lot more work to come, which I love. It's fun. I got stuff to get to, which is awesome. And I just appreciate you guys a ton. I'm looking forward to continuing this. That's the best part. We're not even halfway through.
Nope.
Amen. Yeah, we're glad we're on the path with you, brother. So, hey, thanks for your time. Keep being a great leader, and we're here to support every step of the way, bud.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Really
love you too. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us on the path today. We'll see you soon.
Leadership doesn't have to cost you your health, your relationships, or your sense of purpose. True Path exists to help you create space for the real work, the kind that helps you lead with presence in both business and in life. When you start showing up fully, everything starts to shift. That's what we're here for. If this conversation gave you pause or sparked a deeper question about how you're leading, don't ignore that. Reach out. This is the work we do, and we'd be honored to support your journey.